Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick update here today. And I've got a new find and an old find, which I'm going to show you in better detail than it's been seen previously by anybody, okay? Because I've been going over some of my older images and reworking them and trying to find better quality versions of the original images and reworking them, trying to get more detail and more information. And this is one of them here. Now this is my new Gigamacro site, ArtAlienTV-Gigapans. There's links here to my Facebook. There's my channel link. The world is my channel link. Facebook, and the Instagram one is actually will link you to Mars magazine. Okay, so it's all linked up here, and all these images have multiple links on them to the videos and raw images and all the information you need. Okay, they're all linked up properly and all attributed properly to NASA and everyone else, and also to other people that may have found some of the things. Now do go back and watch this one here. There's a Gigapan link to this as well. This was my previous video, but it's not getting viewed very much because it's been censored almost straight away, because for some reason the Google AI system didn't like it. It's hardly had any views at all in the last few days. It's had only, well, not even 1,500, which is crazy. Normally it would have done double that in that time. So there's definitely some cloak and dagger stuff going on behind the scenes at YouTube, and I think certain subjects are being squashed. My channel has been for quite some time, since at least 2016, when they changed a lot of the algorithms. So check that out. This thing is enormous and it is quite scary, and it's one of at least 4 or 5 giant specimens like this that I found, all approximately this kind of size, which is about 1.5 feet wide, possibly bigger. Okay, so the person this belonged to was very tall indeed, something around 15 feet tall. Okay, check it out. And the one I really wanted to show you was this one. Now, this one that I found the other day. Now, this is some kind of unknown species. I don't know what species this is. Now this zooms right in. You've got to be a bit careful zooming in and out of this because it goes a bit crazy. This is some kind of creature. Now, whether it's a cat or a dog or a humanoid or what, I cannot tell you. I don't know. It doesn't look human, but it doesn't really quite look like anything we have down here. It could be a type of humanoid. Perhaps some of you might have a better idea of what this looks like. I don't really know what to equate it to be honest. Unfortunately, we got the edge of this rock obscuring it a bit here, and it's a bit hard to tell. If we could see more of it, we might be able to work out what it was, but you can see some teeth in here. There is some detail to be seen, not a great deal. But when I found it, I thought, hang on a minute, I swear I've seen this before somewhere. So I asked a few of my friends, my researcher friends, and it turned out that this was found by Martine Grainey, famous researcher, many years ago. I think back in 2012 or 13, not long after the image was published. I think she found it was like straight away. So there are links in here to Martine's stuff as well. So you want to see her version of this image, which is really cool. There's the credit there. Subject Martine Grainey. There's a link there to her picture, her nice enhancement of this. There's not a lot else in this Gigapan, to be honest. There are lots of weird little things, but you can't really make out what they are. But that was a cool one, because I haven't really shown this before. And I was hoping it was a new find, but it's not. But well done to Martine Grainey for finding that. I think it's very interesting. What it is, I don't know. Perhaps some of you could help me with that. But there are lots of things in these images that are interesting. Like, there's a thing next to it, which I noticed here, which looks like a helmet with a sort of bridge, a nose bridge coming down and 2 eyes, but that may be some kind of optical trick. But it might be an object that has got a kind of link holding these 2 parts together. So this may well be a metal object. It's very bright and shiny, and when you go in close, it looks a bit like someone wearing a helmet with a nose piece coming down like this. It could be a little statuette or something of a warrior. There are many of them in the area. So that was interesting. Not really sure about that. Unfortunately, some of these things are so tiny. But the other main one I wanted to show today was the giant Sphinx, because I've reworked this image, and what I've done here is I've put all my latest updates in here, showing some much better close-ups. Now I did do an update on this previously a few months back, and I redid the images and reclipped them and showed some close-ups here. Now this was done a while ago, and it's pretty good, but not taken from the highest quality image. And it's a bit dark. I had to darken it quite a lot to get some of this facial detail to come out. And unfortunately, when you do that, you lose other details. So what I did is I basically got some better quality images and enhanced them. But on this version here, which is one I did just a couple of days ago, I didn't darken it so much because I was trying to look at this structure here. Now this structure here is some kind of entrance or something on the front of the Sphinx. And you can actually see, because I didn't darken it so much, you can actually see that there's a window on it. You can see the edges here coming down, and it's got this dark slot type window on it as well. So this is some kind of structure, right? Intelligent structure built onto the front of the giant Sphinx. Now you can see here that I haven't darkened it anywhere near as much as that previous one I showed you just a minute ago. This is much brighter. It doesn't look so good from a distance because it's quite pale, it's a bit pasty, but there's a lot more detail to be seen on the face here especially. Let's go right in. And this will zoom right in close. You can have a really close look. Now I was really careful with this. Let your eyes adjust. Let's go back a little bit. There we are. Let your eyes adjust to the luminosity. Now the body of it's quite bright, and is made of quite bright stone, kind of limestone material, so it's quite reflective. But what you can see here is a bit more detail than we've ever seen, because I was very careful with this, and I took it very steadily and enhanced it really, really slowly and carefully. And you can actually see what looks like more hair or headdress detail coming down here, right to here. Look, this looks like long hair, but it may be the headdress that's eroded. And you can see eye detail, bold patch. So this is probably a man. It depicts some kind of king or leader, perhaps. And a rather big nose. Not much mouth detail, but there's quite a dark shadow below the mouth there. And a sort of roundish chin. And you can actually see the eye detail in this. And this level of detail only comes out if you get the high quality PDS images of this particular spot, and you won't get it from the browse images unless you know how to treat them. You will never get this anywhere close to this sort of level of detail really, because the browse images are compressed and they've got these lines going through it, and when you enlarge and enhance the image, it adds distortion. So I was very careful with this to use an image of the highest quality possible, so that there was almost no distortion in the image and pixelation and that kind of thing. And you can actually see the eye quite clearly, and you can see the other eyebrow sticking out here. Now this is detail that wasn't quite shown before in my previous updates, but is detail. The detail is there. You can just about make out the eye there and just about make out the eyebrow here. And this is a bit fuzzy, and the edges are blurred, because this was taken from a slightly lower res browse image, but this one is a much higher quality, clearer and more realistic looking image, because it's basically higher quality. You can actually see the structure on the back here, and then what looks like a wing perhaps. So this may actually represent a flying hybrid rather than a lion hybrid, sort of human hybrid. This looks to me like a wing. Other people have mentioned this. This looks like a wing structure here. So this might have been some kind of flying god or something that they worshipped on Mars many thousands of years ago. This could be a folded wing. Very interesting. But what I thought was tantalising was this hatch here. Now you can't see it in amazing detail, but this is the best detail anyone's got from this so far. So there we are, look at the detail, look at the eye detail. We've got these, what look a bit like sideburns coming around, but these may be sort of bony parts to the face, which may mean that what we're looking at here is some kind of reptilian. In some of the other images of this, you can see these bony kind of protrusions coming out of the cheekbone here around the side. Now you can also see them in the other one, probably a little bit more. Let's go back over here. They're a bit harder here, you can see them there coming across. Now that isn't a human bone structure. If those are bone structures or bony structures, you can also see from here, this is the back side view, and you can see them here, these lines here, these dark lines. Now this is either some kind of headdress or helmet, perhaps, or this is bone, which may mean that this was a reptilian and had these bony protrusions on the side of the face. Now I have found lots of reptilian skulls on the surface, and a lot of them do have these strange bony kind of parts to their face, and some of them have very bony parts on top of their head as well, like bony ridges. So this may be, but I'm not going to say for sure either way, because this isn't really close enough. This was taken from miles away, but the rover zoomed in quite a long way here, so we're seeing this from a long way back, and it focused on this ridge line here. Looking at this load of rocks here, and the people at NASA didn't look at the image very carefully and didn't remove this from the background. Now, had they spotted this and realised what it was, they would have probably removed this completely and just pasted over it with fake sand, but they didn't even see it. So I really do wonder if they're even censoring the images. I don't think they are to a large extent. I'm sure they do, and I have shown in the past where they've blatantly put fake sand over things and not even blended the sand properly with the surrounding sand, and you can see the join, and you can see the grain doesn't match up and everything. And here they left it in completely. So I really don't think most of these images are censored. I think some of them are, but I think 90% of them aren't, because if they were 100% censored, I wouldn't have found so many things over the last 7 or 8 years. There are literally almost getting on for 850 videos on my channel, and most of them, I'd say about 800 of them, are Mars videos of this area. And I found thousands of things, including this thing is about 200 to 300 feet long. I think the main part of it here, from here to here, it's about 200 feet. But if you count this part here, the platform it's on, it's more like 300 feet. Okay, it's enormous. And they missed it. So are the people at NASA stupid? Probably not. Are they leaving things in? Yes, they are. They must be. And you can see it here from the other view. This is much brighter as well, because this is the backside view. And there are links on all these things. So you can click on the link and it will take you to the video as well. And there's links in the description here to the various videos. Now it links to a couple of videos here. One of them is the first one I uploaded from years ago, my initial video. But there's also a link to the one with the multiple angles. That's the one I recommend. Multi-angles video here, Giant 200-foot Sphinx on Mars, part 2, multi-angles. That's the one to watch, because it shows this from all the angles. It showed up in dozens of photographs, some of them closer up like this, and some of them further back, but some from further to the right, and some further to the left. So we can see it from the back, the side, and the front. So it's definitely a Sphinx. It's definitely there. And there's also links to a bunch of the newspaper articles here that it was in. This is only some of them. It was in hundreds when I found this. And funnily enough, this is probably what got me censored by whoever runs YouTube, because literally about a week or so after this went viral, and it was in all the newspapers like the Huffington Post and everything, and it was even in like the New York Times and stuff like that. Well, once it was in all those big newspapers in America, suddenly my channel views dropped dramatically and slowed right down by about 80%, and has been kind of trickling along ever since. I do get the occasional viral video here and there, which I always did, but my general views are down considerably on what they used to be back then when I was finding and getting these published in the press. And now pretty much it's almost impossible for me to get anything published in the press. They don't want to print it. They do occasionally, but it's not as much as they used to. So it looks like I've been blacklisted by the mainstream media and by shadow banned partly by YouTube, because basically I'm getting less views now than I was 4 or 5 years ago when I had only a fraction of the subscribers. I'm now on 40,000. Back then I was on about 8 or 9, I think, when this came out, less than 10. So that goes to show that it's easy to censor a channel. They don't actually block your channel completely, but what they do is they limit how many people see your stuff on the feed. Okay, that's all they have to do. They also, people like this, they also do it with things like Facebook and stuff like that as well. So there we are. But check this out. I mean, there's a whole set of gigaplans here, and they're all linked up to the videos. And there's one of my favorites is this one, which was also a video that was censored. This one here, because basically when you show stuff clearly, people kind of freak out about it. They don't mind it if it's some kind of slightly dubious looking rock that looks a bit like something. But when you have something this defined and clear, it scares people higher up in the echelons of power who want to keep a lid on these things, especially when they're going to be sending so many missions to Mars, like we are now, and colonizing Mars. Okay, they don't want people to think that there's stuff there because they don't want to freak people out. There are big tech companies at play here who've got a lot of influence. They're sending a lot of stuff and spending a lot of money and time getting ready to colonize Mars. And this will be happening in the next couple of decades. I absolutely guarantee you it will. And they want to keep a lid on this. And also I think people like Elon Musk want to actually find a lot of these artifacts and bring them back and sell them on Earth, or keep them in his own private collection. When you're as rich as he, there's nothing you can buy on Earth really that you don't already have. And the only things you can get which other people don't have, which gives you exclusivity, is to get alien artifacts. That's what I think he's up to. He wants alien artifacts. He wants art, treasure, gold, statues, and he'll probably set up his own museum and charge people a fortune to go and visit it. This is probably what's going to happen. Now, I'd be quite happy to curate a museum like that because I know where everything is. I've listed everything. I've mapped everything. I've got about 25 of these on here so far. But once I get all my maps up, all my anomaly maps, I will have probably the most extensive anomaly map collection in the world, because I've just found so many things and I can point to them, tell you what they are roughly, and basically I've got them all mapped out and I've updated everything, and I have an extensive collection. A lot of things which I haven't published, but most of them I have. And this is only the start. I mean, I've got about another 900 plus gigaplans to upload. But to start with, I'll mainly be uploading my favourites for people to see, or some of my favourite finds. Here's another reptilian one which has these kind of bony ridges on its head. You see here? So what we may be seeing on the giant sphinx on the cheekbone are sort of bony ridges like this thing has just here. Okay, that's what we might be seeing in that giant sphinx. So it may represent a reptilian, and I do wonder whether the original sphinx on Earth, the giant sphinx on Earth, may have also been a reptilian initially, and it was recarved to a human, much more human-looking face later on. There's been a lot of speculation about it, and it has been recarved at least once or twice and damaged. So it may well have represented even the same person as this initially. Okay, that's speculation. I can't prove it, but it is possible, and that's maybe why the powers that be are reluctant to tell us exactly how old it is. They probably know, but they're still trying to maintain that it's relatively recent, when in fact it's very, very old indeed. is probably more like 7,000 or 8,000 years old, possibly 25,000 years old, and goes back to a civilization which may have come from Mars, or at least been communicating and possibly going to Mars to and fro. We don't know. So there are serious implications from this, because basically when people find out that there's a civilization on Mars, or was a civilization on Mars, it will change their outlook. And I think the powers that be are paranoid about people gaining this knowledge, because they want to keep it for themselves, control it, and steal all the goodies that are up there, all the gold and artifacts and everything else, and keep it for themselves. This is the closest detail you're ever going to see of this, probably, because the rover's never going to go back here. It's miles away from here now, but you can actually see eye detail here, long nose, not a lot of mouth details, a bit blurry there, but this is in shadow, so you can just about make out a bottom lip. And you've got the bony protrusions along the side of the cheekbone, which may be plaited hair like sideburns or something, like some of the Babylonian sphinxes have, or, like I said, bony ridges. Now, if these are bony ridges, this is not a human. Okay? It's a humanoid, but not a human like you or I. So there we are, and you can see those ridges probably a bit more clearly here. See that? These dark lines. But it's got a huge bulbous kind of eyelid. And if we go to this one, it probably shows even more the eyelid. This isn't very well enhanced, this one. This is from a lower quality image, but you can see how bulbous that eyelid is there. Really bulbous. And you can see the ridges coming around. But that may be part of the headdress. We don't really know. And this one's a bit blurry, but darker. But the real thing I wanted to show you was that hatch in the structure here. You can see the structure coming down, and a little dark window. Very interesting. And as I've said before, this I would imagine would contain records in here, possibly going back many thousands or even millions of years, perhaps chronicling the cataclysm on Mars or something like that. So this would be one place I would send another rover to. Or humans. I would send humans here to investigate in here and have a look inside. I would imagine this is full of art, possibly treasure, and a wealth of information. And up on the mountain here, I would imagine some of these structures up here would also contain records of what happened on Mars and our possible ancestors. Okay? So check that out, check that one out, check the others out. There's lots to see here. There will be a main link to all these in the description below, as usual. But this was an interesting find by Martine Grainey. I mean, that, even though it's not very clear, it's pretty obvious that it's some kind of creature. The question is, what? Thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please share on social media. I will see you soon.